I've no more fucks to give, my fucks have run dry. I've tried to go fuck shopping, but there's no fucks left to buy. I've no more fucks to give, no more fucks I've tried to get. I'm over my fuck budget and I'm now in fucking debt.
Hey YouTubers, welcome back to the Chris Nurpin Project. I'm your host and its creator Chris Nurpin, and I'm so pleased to be with you today because a few days ago, Ontario entered stage 1 of its reopening plan. That meant that on Friday morning of last week at 12:01, the patios all over Ottawa were opened, and I am telling you, they were packed. Now, I live right next door to a pretty popular pub restaurant here in Ottawa, and do you think I could stay in while everyone else was out having a good time? No, I could not. After 15 months of social isolation, I needed to get out. Did I know anyone there? I did not. Did I meet a bunch of people? I sure did. And they let me take pictures. And so I'm just going to show you some of the happy faces of people getting out and being allowed to rub elbows again after this last year of hell. So enjoy this. Didn't that look like it was fun? It was so much fun. I actually didn't get to bed until 6 o'clock that same morning, and I'm not going to complain. It was fantastic. I am so happy to see us moving forward. Vaccine rates are going up apparently, and that is terrific. Maybe we'll soon get back to normal. Another thing I wanted to do today was give a shout out to my son who graduated grade 8 today, and like he has every year before, he walked away with the overall academic achievement award. You know what, dude? Dad's so proud of you. You impress me all the time. You work hard, you're going places, and I can't wait to see where you go because I know it'll be amazing whatever you do. So congratulations and a round of applause for my boy. So that's the housekeeping stuff. Today I wanted to get into a video that discusses some of the issues that are going on in Canada. Frankly, I woke up Monday morning to find out that hashtag Cancel Canada Day was trending. Yes, let's cancel Canada Day. Now, the reason that this has been trending, of course, is because of a very tragic turn of events that came out a few weeks ago, and that is that in Kamloops, BC, on a residential school property, 215 bodies were discovered through ground-penetrating radar. The stain of the residential school history on Canada is a stain that will be impossible to take away. But you know what, folks? Canceling Canada Day for historical grievances doesn't work. Punishing the present for the problems of the past does not fix anything. And I'm really upset to see anyone thinking that Cancel Canada Day is a good idea. So I suggest maybe the hashtag Cancel Stupidity, because if we're going to cancel anything, let's cancel stupidity. To those families, to all families affected by the residential school and the history of the terrible events that took place, what a horrific legacy for Canada to have to reconcile. But unfortunately, we have a Prime Minister who has no ability to reconcile anything. He is a weak leader. He promised that he would finally do something about the Indigenous issues in this country, and he has done nothing. Not only can Justin Trudeau not run a country, he can't even run water to the First Nations reserves. And he has failed on every count. And so, yeah, you know what, Justin Trudeau? You absolutely suck at your job. And that is my opinion. Anybody who does any good research and looks past the propaganda might probably agree, and I'm pretty sure history will write Justin Trudeau as one of the weakest and most destructive prime ministers for the nation of Canada in the future. I have no doubt about it. But rather than me beating on Justin Trudeau, because we know that's what I'm going to do, I thought maybe I'd show you some clips of what other people think of Justin Trudeau around the world, and stuff that you would never find in Canadian media because their lips are too attached to his ass. So let's first of all go over to Great Britain. This is a clip from a discussion on a morning show, Good Morning Britain, about the brown face and the black face and Justin Trudeau's propensity to wear it and what that should actually mean and whether he should have been cancelled or not over it. So here you go.
It was 18 years ago. I mean, he says he doesn't know how many times, so there may have been a more recent time. But are people not allowed to have their views rehabilitated in 18 years? Are they not allowed to say, do you know what, I have no idea what I was thinking.
I'm not saying...
It was clearly racist, and I would not do anything like that, and I would like to atone for that now. We're not allowed to give people forgiveness?
Of course you can. Look, of course people can change and they can evolve, but this is a person who was addicted to blackface, a person whose rise to prominence was he picked out a Indigenous MP, had a boxing match with him, beat him up on purpose to make this is the image I want to put about Canada in a place that has huge issues with its Indigenous population. I don't think you can say this is a person whose credibility we can totally trust just because he's Captain Woke and he has a few nice policies. And the bigger problem is, if he dealt with this, if he was serious about it, he'd have dealt with it before he got elected. He's sorry he got caught.
Weird.
He's not sorry about what happened.
I agree. He never mentioned this. He's been sitting there like a ticking time bomb. He's never revealed it.
Well, he never mentioned it because it's not exactly a vote winner, is it?
Well, no, but that's the point. If he was genuinely sorry for it, he would have atoned for it. You don't atone for it like that.
But that was interesting, wasn't it? Wasn't it interesting to hear black people talk about how they felt about Justin Trudeau? And I really enjoy the fact that they said, yeah, he can't be trusted. If he was actually serious about this, he would have talked about it and brought it to the surface before he went into politics. But no, like they said, and I truly do believe, he's sorry he got caught. He's not sorry he did it. He did it far too many times to be sorry that he did it. Quite frankly, don't think Justin Trudeau is racist. I think he's very egocentric. I think he's incredibly privileged, and he has spent his whole life never having to pay the price for his own actions. And I think also he surrounds himself with yes people, because we know, if you look at the last 5-6 years, Justin Trudeau will throw anybody under the bus who goes against him. Mr. Woke, Mr. Feminist, Mr. You don't like what I'm doing? Hit the road. That's the true Justin Trudeau. So let's move on to the next clip. This comes to us from Sky News in Australia, and this is how Australia reported the re-election of Justin Trudeau in 2019. Enjoy.
History was made today in Canada. Canadians have just re-elected their first black Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, of the left-wing Liberal Party. Or, then again, maybe they have just re-elected their first Indian Prime Minister, who's again Justin Trudeau. Or maybe they've re-elected their first Sikh Prime Minister. Or maybe their First Nations or Canadian Indian Prime Minister. You know, I guess it really depends on what dress-up box was in Trudeau's office at the time. Now, how Canada re-elected someone who's simultaneously so woke and so culturally cringing, yet so hypocritical, I mean, Prime Minister Justin Blackface, that, to me, is amazing. Then again, to say that he's won is perhaps a little bit too flattering. Trudeau's Liberals won just a third of the vote this time, losing around 20 seats. And they'll have to form a minority government with even more left-wing parties. So don't count on Canada to resist the culture wars. Not under this chameleon.
So there you have it. Justin Trudeau, cringe-worthy chameleon. Yep, that's right. And you know, it amazes me, Mr. Platitudes, that you don't recognize that every time you dress up like another culture, you are performing cultural appropriation. You are, in fact, not giving kudos to that population or to that ethnicity. You are committing a racist act. Dude, what's wrong with you? You need to check yourself before you wreck the country, because that's what you're doing. You disgust me, and I'm sorry. I can't have any respect for you. There have been too many problems with your leadership over the years, if you can, in fact, call it leadership. Yeah, so, it's terrible. But, and you know, something horrific, another thing happened a few weeks ago, a horrific act of violence here in Ontario, in London. A Muslim Canadian family were ran down by one individual who killed, I believe, 3 generations of a Muslim family, leaving a 9-year-old boy to grow up without that family and probably questioning what the hell is wrong with this world. And I can't express enough sympathy for how that family feels. And, you know, considering that it was a Muslim family, I expect that that tragedy goes way beyond our borders and affects way more than just the community of London and how we reflect on ourselves here in Canada. But I think one of the things that disgusts me the most about that event is how politicians reacted. How leaders all across the country converged on London when they were having a vigil for the family and for this tragedy, and how each and every one of them took to the stage, and you can go find it on the news, look at any of the news. They took it to the stage, they politicized it, they elevated it to an act of terrorism, which I'm sorry, I don't think an act of terrorism can be defined as one person's act of hatred against 3 or 4 people. Terrorism is terrifying a whole country or a whole state. It is not the act of one incredibly terrible person. And so to take this act and turn it into a political thing, and then to jump onto a precipice about how racist Canada is, yeah, you should all be ashamed of yourselves. Not a single one of you said anything about that family, about the community of London, about how Canada is there for the community of London, and how Canada's heart breaks for the community of London and the families that have been affected by this tragedy. No, you all grabbed it to build identity politics. You should all be ashamed of yourself. And you know who I'm most disappointed in with regards to this politicizing this tragic event is Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the federal NDP party. Jagmeet Singh is a Sikh, I believe, of Punjabi descent. I apologize if I got that wrong. Please don't call me racist, but I do believe he is a Sikh. And so the leader of a federal NDP party says that Canada is a systematically racist country. You know what, dude? You should resign your position, because you are fueling hate, and you yourself, through your own life experience, must certainly know that Canada isn't a horrifically racist country. How the hell did you become the leader of the NDP party if it is such a racist country? How did you achieve success in your legal career if it is such a racist country? You, dude, are a stain on this country, walking around using that. If it really was racism and it was systematic, why is this the first time you mention it? Why didn't you mention it when you lost so many seats in the last election? Because it's not true, and you know it's not true, and you should damn well be ashamed of yourself for grabbing that and for propagating hate. Because what you don't seem to realize is that as you're telling Canadians of any ethnicity that it's a racist country, you are generating hate that does not exist. You are stoking the flames of dissent. You are stoking the flames of division, and you should take responsibility for that. Now, I know I'm white as fuck, so you're maybe sitting there watching this thinking, well, what the hell do you know, Chris? You're white. You have privilege. How dare you say any of these things? That makes you racist. Well, maybe it does. I don't think it does, because quite frankly, I don't judge anybody on the color of their skin, on their religious background, on their ethnicity. None of that matters to me. You're either an asshole or you're not an asshole. And it shouldn't matter what color your skin is, or what language you speak, or what religion you practice. Calling you an asshole when you're an asshole should not be considered racist. And so you know what, Jagmeet Singh? I think you're an asshole for what you did. That's right. But, you know, as I said, white as fuck. So I thought maybe I'd provide you an example of somebody of ethnicity who also thinks Jagmeet Singh is full of shit. There was an article written in the National Post on June 9th. A link of it will be in this video so you can read the whole thing. It is written by a journalist named Rupa Subramanya, and she is of Indian descent herself. And the title of the article is, "No Jagmeet, Canada is not a racist country. It's one of the most tolerant places on earth. The full article, the link will be posted in this video. I ask you to go read it, go check it out. This is a very clear opinion, and it really stands against the narrative that our leaders are trying to tell us, that we are a systematically racist country that should be ashamed of ourselves. So right in here, this first one, she writes, I first experienced racism not in Canada, but in India and the Middle East, two places where I grew up. I was routinely denigrated by some Indians for having darker skin, and by some Arabs for being Indian, dark-skinned and not a Muslim. These prejudices can be vicious. The truth is that many people of color who immigrate to Canada are racialized long before they get here. That racism can and does exist between people of color is a reality that's entirely missing from the discourse on race in Canada, where it is assumed to be perpetrated solely by old stock white Canadians, with people of color as their victims. An honest conversation, that's right, politicians, there's a word here, do you understand it? It's called honest. You might want to look it up. You might want to learn about it. You might want to try it out sometime. An honest conversation about racism in Canada must acknowledge these complexities, especially given demographic changes driven by large-scale immigration from non-Western countries. So, yeah, folks, you need to start standing up. You need to start pushing back against this narrative that's coming from this left wokist ideology. It is tearing our country apart. It is creating hate where there is no hate. It is creating divisiveness where there used to be unity. And we have one person specifically to thank, and that is Justin Trudeau, because the man does not know what he's talking about. He is interested in himself, he's interested in power, and he's not interested in the rest of Canada, and he is certainly not interested in healing the wounds that have been created so viciously against the Indigenous population, because he's done nothing. The man speaks out of both sides of his mouth, and he does not walk the walk around all of his talk. And it is disgusting, it disappoints me. Canada Day is coming up soon. I'm hoping that we can hashtag cancel stupidity and all of us can get together, not all of us of course, but that you can celebrate Canada Day and celebrate what a wonderful nation this is and what a welcoming nation this is, and that we as Canadians should work to get back to being that place on the world stage, because under Justin Trudeau, on every facet of world politics, Canada is a laughing stock. So I guess maybe I'll finish on that today. I know there wasn't much funny in that one. I apologize, but there's nothing that's really funny about our country being torn apart by its leaders for their own political gain. That to me should be considered treason at the very least. But let's not end on a bitter note. Let's try to remember that Ontario and Canada is starting to move forward into reopening. We're able to see our friends. In fact, 2 weeks from now, I have plans to go to a backyard barbecue and see some friends that I haven't seen in more than a year and a half, and I'm super pumped about that. I can't wait. I hope you folks are all making plans to see your friends and your family and to celebrate each other and be happy. And really, really, don't buy into this narrative that Canada's a terrible country. We're a fabulous country and you are fabulous citizens. And let's remember that, and let's celebrate and let's have a good time. Don't forget to let me know what you think of this video below in the comments. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. I can't wait to put out more of this. I'm enjoying this very much. I hope you enjoyed the music in this video because I love it. I think it's a great reflection. And yeah, until next time, hashtag cancel stupidity and Nerpin out.